beautiful babes, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing a little Valentine's Day look that I have recently posted on my Instagram. If you're not following me already, it is at K Watson Beauty, and it is the same as my YouTube and the same as my Twitter. So today we're going to be using the James Charles palette from Morphe, and we're also going to be using the Jaclyn Hill palette from Morphe as well. So now that I have you guys zoomed in, I'm going to go ahead and prime my eyelids. I'm going to be using the Morphe eyeshadow base. It looks like this. And I'm just going to take that on my finger and dab it onto my eyelid. Alright, so now that we have our base down, I'm going to go in with the James Charles palette first. So I'm going to be taking the shade Mary, which is this shade right here. It is the third shadow on the second row from the left, and I'm going to be taking that on a Morphe 505 brush. So this is what it looks like. I don't know if you can see. This is what the brush looks like. It's just a big fluffy blend. So where I'm gonna start is I'm gonna lightly start it in the crease. Very, 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 very lightly. We're just gonna go back and forth until that color builds. And then once we have it laid down into the crease, we're just going to go ahead and start buffing that upwards. Very, very lightly. So, funny story, y'all. So I've already filmed this video once, completely, and I edited this video once, completely. I actually filmed it yesterday, last night. And I edited the whole thing. It was like 2 hours worth of footage. I had it edited down to like a 30-minute video, right? And it completely, like, when I went to download it from the editing, where I edited at, and then to download it back onto my phone so I could upload it, it crashed everything. Like, I lost every bit of footage that I had. So here I am, uploading it again. So what I did is just dip back into it, and I'm gonna build it back into the crease. Very, very lightly. But I wanted you guys to have this little tutorial. So I'm gonna go back in with Mary, and I'm gonna do the same thing to the other eye. So now we're gonna dip into the shade, and this is the one right here. It is Boutique. It is on the second row, and it is the second shadow from the right. And I'm just gonna go and dip into that on a M330 from Morphe. This is what the brush looks like. It's just a smaller, fluffy blending brush. Alright, so I'm gonna lightly tap into that. We're gonna tap off the excess. And I'm going to go back into this little crease area, and we're going to deepen up that crease. Remember to do it very, very lightly. It's always easier to build up the color and work with it than to lay too much down and then you have way too much eyeshadow in an area. So Now that I have that all blended out and where I want it to be, I'm going to go back in with that M505, which is our big fluffy blender brush, and I'm going to go into the shade Pinkity Drinkity. It is this very, very light pinky shade right here. So it is on the second row from the bottom all the way to the right. And I'm going to put that on our brush, tap off the excess, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to lighten up the edges of our eyeshadow. So I'm going to go over to the edge with it and very, very lightly dust it inward to that crease. And that is it with the James Charles palette for now. So now that we have everything laid down and how we like it, so now we're going to be jumping into the Jaclyn Hill palette, and I'm going to be going in with a little like flat top concealer brush. This is what it looks like. It's from Morphe. It is the M421. But we're going to be using Faint, and we're going to be using Sissy. So it's going to be these two right here. I have Faint on this finger, and I have Sissy on this finger. So we're going to be using Faint more towards the inner corner of our eye, and we're going to be using Sissy towards the outer corner of our eye, because the shifts of these are different, and you want to bring more light to the inner corner of your eye so it opens up your eye. And then we're going to be shifting it over to this darker pink. Going in with that M421, I'm going to be spraying it with a little bit of MAC Fix Plus on one side. And I'm going to be going into the shade Faint. And I'm going to start cutting my crease with that shade. So you just want to do it very, very lightly to begin with, just so you can get that line down of where you want it. And the reason I'm doing this with the shimmer shade instead of taking it with concealer, cutting the crease, and then laying down the shimmer is I wanted that, like that rougher edge. I didn't want a super, super sharp cut crease. We're only gonna go halfway down the eyelid. So go to like the middle of your eye, and then go ahead and fill in that part. So be sure when you look up, you have cut that crease where your eye folds, because if not, you're gonna have glitter all over your eye. All right. So once you're happy with that, go ahead and take a little bit more of that shade, and now we're just going to pack it on. I'm going to put a little bit more MAC Fix Plus before I dip into that shade, and we're going to go ahead and cut out this side. So on that same brush, we're going to flip it over, spray that side, and we're going to go in with that little pinky goldy shade Sissy in the Jaclyn Hill palette. And we're going to be going where we stopped with that last shadow. So see where it stops in the middle of the eye? We're going to go ahead and pat that into that area. Alright, so now that we have those two shades laid down, we're going to go back into the James Charles palette. And we're going to take that first shade that we used, Mary. We're going to take our M330, and we're just going to go towards that outer corner that we left bare. We're going to go ahead and blend that in with that little shimmer shade that we left. Okay, so now that we have the eyes all done, I'm going to be going in and doing our inner corner highlight. I'm going to go back into the James Charles palette, and I'm going to go in with this shade right here. And I'm going to be taking that shade on a M213 brush from Morphe. This is what it looks like. It's a little itty bitty smudger brush. I'm going to put this shade on dry. So we're gonna go ahead and just pat that in. So I'm gonna zoom you back out and we're gonna go ahead and get started on our face. I'm gonna be going in with the NARS Sheer Glow Foundation, and I'm in the shade Light 6. I'm going to be blending this out with a Real Technique sponge. I'm going to go ahead and dab this all over and go ahead and start blending that in. Okay, so now that I have my foundation done, I'm going to be going in with concealer. I'm going to be using the Makeup Revolution Conceal and Define Concealer. I'm in the shade C2. And what I like to do with my concealer, this is where it gets a little different, is I put it on to the back of my hand. And then I take a little bit of MAC Fix Plus and I put it on the concealer that I put on my hand. And then I take my sponge and I rub it in and blend it together. And then I put it on. I don't know where this came from, why I started doing it, but I just did and I absolutely love it. Okay, so you're probably going to think I'm absolutely crazy, but I'm not going to set my face. I don't set my face, and I'm going to tell you why. So my skin is very, very dry, and every time I set my face, it's like it sucks the life out of my skin, and it doesn't matter like how much MAC Fix Plus I have, how much Caudalie Great Water I have, how much Pixie Rose Makeup Mist that I had. I can't get it back. Like it's gone. My life of my skin is gone, and I don't get it until I take it off, do a mask, do a serum, put on moisturizer, and pray to the skin gods that everything goes back to normal. So what I've been doing is I let my under eyes crease, and I know you're probably thinking like, you're gonna crease all day. So what I found is that once I let it crease and I dab it back out with my sponge, after that it doesn't crease anymore. So, you know, you may have to do it a few times depending on you and depending on your skin and everything like that, but I don't know if putting a little bit of MAC Fix Plus in my concealer and then blending it out that way tends to help with this. It may, I have no idea, but I usually only have to do it one time and I'm good to go. So my skin stays looking hydrated and plump and stuff like that, and I'm not dry and cakey and feeling like a desert. So instead of putting powder on my face, we're gonna go straight into bronzer, blush, and highlight. I have a little mini Hoola bronzer. This is what the inside looks like. She is used and abused. I use her a lot. So I'm going to be going in with that. And I'm going to be taking this big Morphe bronzer brush. I'm going to put a little on my brush, tap off my excess. So usually when you set your face, everything blends out a little better. And you don't have to worry about, you know, going in real heavy. You usually can blend it out. So going in when you haven't set your face, you want to make sure that you go in with a very, very light hand and you don't go in super heavy and super hard, because it will stick where you put it. Just remember, like, if you touch your face, it's sticky, this powder is going to cling to it. So I'm going to go in right above the hollow of my cheek right here. I'm going to go right here. And this tends to lift my face up, and we're going to go very, very, very lightly. We're not going to drag it all the way down to the corner of our mouth, because that tends to drag down the face. So we're going to keep it up into the high point of our face, very, very lightly blending that into the skin. And then once it starts to blend out, you can start little circular motions, keeping it more saturated towards the back of the face. So, are you guys ready for Valentine's Day? It's tomorrow. It definitely snuck up on us. Definitely snuck up on us. Snuck up on me. And my birthday is sneaking up on me, so we're gonna go ahead and do this to the other side. Right above the hollows of the cheek, very, very lightly, and start blending that out. So yeah, my birthday is coming up on the 22nd, which I believe is next Friday, if I'm not mistaken. And I am not ready for it. I mean, I definitely, like, it flew up on me. I don't remember my birthday coming this fast. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start here. So you want most of your saturation, if you're gonna have any, to be up here because it shadows the face. So we're gonna start here, and I'm just gonna pat it in. And we're just very lightly gonna blend that into our skin. And then whatever is left on that brush, we're gonna bring down the temple and blend it into that bronzer that we did on the cheek. We're gonna jump into blush now that our bronzer is done, and I'm gonna be using a Morphe brush. It's just their blush brush. Any blush brush will be fine. Whatever you prefer, whatever works for you is fine. So once again, I have a little mini. This is California, which is a little blush from Benefit, and this is what it looks like. So what we're gonna do is, remember, our face is not set, so where we're gonna put blush, it's really gonna stick. This blush is super, super pigmented. If you plan on using it or ever use it or do have it or use it, just remember, if you did not set your face, it will stick. We're gonna lightly dab it onto our cheek, and then very, very lightly pull it to the back of our face and blend it in with that bronzer that we have. We're gonna move on to everybody's favorite part, or at least it's my favorite part, the highlight. So what I'm gonna be using today is a Juvia's Place loose highlighter. It is, I believe, their lightest shade in the loose highlighters. It is a very like goldy shade, which I really love, with like a pink look and a very light look. It tends to like blend into the skin. It's a very great formula. I definitely recommend checking them out and check out their highlighters. They are amazing. So I'm going to be taking a little bit into the cap, and I have this brush from Morphe. It's not your typical highlighter brush. And why I like to use this is that it blends it and helps it melt into the skin more and spread out more for me. I prefer it. You don't have to use it. But for my pressed highlighters, I do use like a more smaller definer brush that I can pinpoint where I put my highlight. But for these loose highlighters, I'm going to be using this big fluffy brush. I'm going to swirl it around in the cap, dust off a little bit so we don't go in so heavy. And I'm going to be starting at the high point of my cheekbone, very lightly. And remember, if you are using a loose highlighter pigment, it is very pigmented. So you do want to go in with a very light hand at first, and you can build it up. So as you can see, it is already there, and I have barely put any on my brush. And then what I like to do is to veil my blush with it. It tends to make like a very cute like pinky goldy hue to the face, which I really love. And then we're just going to go ahead and make sure that all of that is blended in. We're going to go ahead and get started on brows. So for my brows, today I'm going to be using the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz, and I'm in the shade medium brown. So I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit. So I have thankfully pretty good I have pretty decent brows now. So all I have to do is just fill in and kind of shape up the brow. I don't really have to do too much to it. But do y'all want to know a funny story? I don't know if you could tell, but I have like a chunk out of my eyebrow right there. Like literally if I move it. Can y'all see that line? So I usually do a pretty good job of like hiding it and filling it in to where you can't see it. But when I was in middle school, I was going to a wedding. I was in a wedding for a family member, and I went and got my eyebrows waxed, okay? And this was the first time that I had ever had my eyebrows done, and let me tell you, this lady scarred me for life. And I'm going to tell you why, because she literally, so she cleaned the area and she started to put the wax on to, of course, my eyebrows and the area around it. And when she put it on there, the wax was so hot, you guys. It was so hot that it burnt my skin. And then she proceeds, of course, like, I mean, what are you gonna do? She rips it off, and it burnt my skin so bad that when she ripped it off, the skin she burnt came with it. I died. That was the day that I died. And it was so bad, you guys. It was so bad. So bad. So that was my traumatizing event with getting my eyebrows waxed. And so I was like bleeding and everything like that. So eventually, like, I went to the wedding and everything was fine. I treated it and it finally healed, obviously. But after that, like when they started to grow back in, I was like, I'm not going to get my eyebrows waxed. Like that was y'all have to remember, like that was my first time, and it was just traumatizing. Like it hurt so bad. I was bleeding, it blistered, it was bad. I mean, it was bad for like days. So when it was time to get my eyebrows done, I was like, you couldn't pay me to walk back into a salon and get them puppies waxed. Nope. So me being the middle schooler that I was like, well, screw it. I'll just trim them with the little electric trimmers, right? So here I am in middle school, like I was young, and I'm sitting here in front of the mirror and I'm trimming my brow. And when I'm trimming my brow, I have my arm on the edge of the dresser, and in the middle of trimming, I'm on the outside edge right here, and my arm goes down into oblivion. I have no idea like why my arm slipped. It's beyond me. And it cut a chunk out of my brow, y'all. Like it cut a chunk out of your girl's brow. And so me being the little sassy thing that I was, that I could fix everything, went ahead and tried to make this brow even with this brow. And by the end of the day, my brow was only to about the arch, I would say, like about here was all I had. The rest of that tail of the brow was gone. So I had like thick brows at the front, thin brows up to the arch, and that was it. Y'all, I had to go to school with those brows. Thank God brows grow back. But y'all, it was rough. So then after that, I was like, okay. So I started to get a little more confident with it. But I can tell y'all, I had the bushiest brows for a long time because I was so traumatized to do anything with my brows. I mean, when you go from getting burnt by getting waxed, and then you chop off half of your eyebrow and have to walk around for weeks with a half an eyebrow on both sides looking like a hot mess, you get kind of traumatized, you know what I mean? So I didn't do anything with my brows for a very long time, and then eventually I started doing the trimmer again, and I got a lot better, the steadier hand, and I did get them threaded for a long time, but I don't know, I mean, the pain wasn't bad. It definitely didn't hurt as bad as getting waxed. I've been waxed maybe 3 times in my life, having my eyebrows done, so I mean, it honestly, like, the pain comparison for me, I know I've had like people tell me like that it was painful. I honestly didn't think so. I don't think mine was that painful, but you know, it is what it is. But yeah, so I had them threaded, and definitely didn't hurt as bad, but I just didn't like the way it made my brows look. Like, I like a more natural brow. Like, I do like some, you know, areas to be fuller than other. Like, I don't like the super sharp line. I like being able to just fill in where I want to fill in, and other days, like, it just looked like a natural brow. Like, yeah, it's nice to have where you don't have to fill it in, but, you know, on other days, I want to look, you know, like I have natural brows. Like, I'm just, you know, walking around out of the pool with Instagram brows. Like, no, I don't want that. So, yeah, so I did that, but the lines were too harsh and she was making them too thin, and yeah. So I grew them out and I've been trimming them with the electric trimmer and plucking them ever since. And I am very, 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 very happy with the shape of my brows now. But yeah, I figured I would tell y'all that little story while I did my brows, just to give you somewhat of a giggle, you know. Alright guys, so now that I have my brows on and done, and I have you guys zoomed back out, I'm going to get started on my lips. So I'm going to be using the NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream. I don't know if you can see it out, honestly. But it is like this cute pinky mauve color. And I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Go ahead and let that dry because it does dry down to a matte. And I am going to take that sponge, I didn't forget, and I'm gonna pat out those under eye creases from the concealer. Then I'm gonna add lower lash eyeshadow, and then I'm gonna do my mascara and lashes, and we will be done. So I'm gonna pat these out. And usually after I pat them out, they're good. I don't see them anymore. I'm gonna go back into the James Charles palette and use that first shade that we used, that is Mary. And I'm gonna use that on a small fluffy brush. I'm gonna use the M330. You don't have to use that, it's just what I prefer to smoke out my under eye. We're just gonna do that. So now that I have smoked out my under eye, I'm going to go ahead and add mascara. I'm going to be using the Too Faced Better Than Sex mascara. I have been using this mascara forever. I really enjoy it. Okay, now that our lip is dry, I'm going to be going back into the James Charles palette, and I'm going to dip my finger into the shade Sister that we use for our inner corner, and I'm going to be patting that on the center of our lips. I'm going to go ahead and apply lashes. I will be using House of Lashes in the style Spellbound today. They're nice, thin, and fluffy. They're super, super comfortable. I really enjoy these lashes. I wear them all the time. I can wear them with a full glam. I can wear them just out and about with friends. They're super, super comfortable. And I use the Duo Glow. It is the one with the little brush. It's the green one. And I just go ahead and brush on a thin layer onto the lash band. And then I'm going to go ahead and place the center on first. Take my tweezers, place down the outside edge. And then place down the inner corner. And that is And there you have it. That is it. Lashes are on, lipstick is on, highlight is on. So that is everything. I hope you enjoyed this video, little tutorial Valentine's Day look thing. If you did, don't forget to hit like and subscribe and comment down below. Don't forget to hit that little notification bell because I will be uploading every Wednesday from here on out. So don't forget to hit it so you are notified every time I upload a brand new video. Alright, don't forget to check out my Instagram. If you see something on there that you really like and enjoy and you want to know how to recreate it, go ahead and let me know and I will do a little video for you guys. Alright, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Have a good Valentine's Day tomorrow, and I love you guys so much. Mwah. Bye guys!